Thank you for watching this special edition of the Bridgewater Review. I'm John Luck. Coming up throughout this program, we'll have all the information you need ahead of the annual town election coming up on Saturday, April 23rd. This will be taking place at Bridgewater Middle School, or as some people may know it better as, the old high school on Mount Prospect Street. There are 3 races, 2 of which will be contested, and we'll get to those in a little bit, as there will also be a question that affects all Bridgewater residents and the potential for a new fire station. We've shared a couple of videos showing the inside of the current fire headquarters on School Street to give you an idea of what it looks like inside, as well as some of the challenges faced in day-to-day operations by members of the department. Coming up after this program, I'll show you those videos once again. And the town has also recorded a number of informational sessions answering many of the questions that residents have had, and you can check out those videos on the town's Facebook page. Just search Town of Bridgewater, MA. I mentioned that we have contested races for 2 seats on the BR School Committee, one in Bridgewater and one in Rainham. And we'll hear from some of the candidates in this year's Candidates Corner series, and we start off with the Bridgewater race. 3 people will be vying for 1 seat, and it does bear repeating for the viewers watching in Rainham that both communities will be voting for both races. Melinda Barrett, Kathy Martelly, and Claudia Mainville are all looking to gain enough votes for the Bridgewater seat. And we start off with Cleone introducing herself to the community, followed by Kathy.
Hello, my name is Claudia Mainville and I am running for school committee. I've been a resident of Bridgewater since 2007 and have been involved with the Bridgewater-Rainham Regional School District in various capacities since 2013. Throughout the years, my family and I have had the great fortune to know how it feels to be supported and valued member of the Bridgewater community. We have also felt the sting and hurt that comes from having our concerns dismissed and minimized by our school leaders. Having both of these different experiences have inspired me to run for the school committee because I want to play my part in fostering an environment where students, parents, teachers, and community members are treated as valued and equal partners. I want to see a district in which all children are striving and thriving in the classroom, in academics, art, music, athletics, and more. I believe that it is important for a school district to be led by a fair-minded school committee that is made up of people from different backgrounds and life experiences. Having different perspectives informing the decisions that affect the quality of life of our children will generate innovative ideas and solutions to the challenges that our school committee faces now and in the future. My commitment to our town is not just reflected in my words, but also in my actions. In 2019, I founded a local nonprofit to support the students and families whose concerns were not being considered in the decisions being made by our community leaders. One of the events that I am most proud of is our community listening session, where my team and I brought to town leaders' attention the negative experiences that some of our members in our community were having based on the way they looked, where they were born, or even their learning style. As vice chair on the Bridgewater Town Charter Review Committee, I advocated and helped to develop a community survey to capture the thoughts and ideas of community members and ensured that it informed the recommended changes to the charter. While I support respectful dialogue, I have the courage to speak up when some voices are not heard and when decisions are being made without the proper level of transparency and accountability. My current and past professional experience have included positions that have helped national work groups to provide efficient, effective, and equitable service to the communities they aim to serve. In addition, I have worked with all levels of government and nonprofits to stop corruption and prevent the fraud and waste of taxpayer dollars. I am committed to using my skills to benefit our school district. To learn more about me, please visit my Facebook page, website, email, or just give me a call. My phone number is 774-213-1630. Again, my name is Claudia Mainville, and I respectfully ask for your vote for for school committee on April 23rd. And coincidentally, April 23rd is my birthday. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Catherine Martelly. Before I get into my reason for running for school committee, let me tell you about myself first. I'm one of 10 children. All 10 of us graduated from Bridgewater, Rainham. I was a very involved student at Bridgewater, Rainham, playing 3 sports, being involved in clubs, and as a matter of fact, I was a representative to the Student Advisory Committee for the school committee, as well as being involved in Student Government Day. I thoroughly enjoyed my experience at Bridgewater Rainham. My husband of 39 years was also a Bridgewater Rainham graduate, as well as his 2 siblings. I have 3 children, all graduates of Bridgewater Rainham, and currently I have 4 grandchildren, 3 of which live in Rainham and attend Rainham Middle School, La Liberty, and in the fall, the youngest will attend Merrill. I've been an involved parent from the moment my oldest entered kindergarten. I was a room mother and a You and Me volunteer. That was a program similar to the DARE program, but for younger students. I was a softball coach, along with my husband, for 8 years. Once my oldest was in school full-time, I became a paraprofessional at the kindergarten first grade level. Soon after, I became an academic year secretary at Burnell School, followed by my career at the Williams Intermediate School, and then Bridgewater Middle School. Finally ending my career at the central office as an administrative assistant. It has been an incredible work experience, and I was honored to represent the schools. So much so that I substitute on occasion when needed. Bridgewater Rainham has been good to me, both academically and professionally. My experience comes from my involvement with the schools, interactions with the parents, staff, students, and administrators. While serving as a full-year secretary, I was president of the union and was successful in negotiating a new contract. I have also served as school committee clerk in East Bridgewater for several years. During this time, I took minutes for regular meetings, budget meetings, executive sessions, and negotiations. This was a paid position and not an elected position, so therefore I had no voice and simply took notes. I often said to myself, I should be doing this for Bridgewater. When the time came, I left my position in East Bridgewater. I was working for the district full-time. But since my retirement 5 years ago, I thought the time is now. I have extensive knowledge in the system and how the committee is run. I am aware of the policies and procedures of a committee. I have a vested interest in the children, not just my grandchildren, but all children, to make sure that they get the education that they deserve. These are our future leaders, teachers, servicemen, entrepreneurs, you name it. These students are our future, and they deserve the best education to get them on their way. Many have asked my stance on masking and vaccinations. I believe masking was warranted during the height of the crisis. Once the pandemic started to slow, it was a relief to be able to unmask and breathe again, see a smile again, hear a non-muffled voice again. I am vaccinated myself, and my family is vaccinated as well as being boosted. I think at this time, it should be a parental right whether to vaccinate or not until it is mandated nationwide. That being said, Mass.gov says vaccinations are one of our greatest public health interventions of the 20th century, second only to clean water. Among children born during 1994 to 2013, vaccination will prevent an estimated 322 million illnesses, 21 million hospitalizations, and 732,000 deaths over the course of their lifetimes. We need vaccinations throughout our lives to help protect against serious diseases. Great things are happening at Bridgewater Rainham. In early March, I attended a budget hearing presentation for fiscal 2022-23. I was pleased to see the efforts of the budget subcommittee and the administration in the final budget that was presented. The personnel needs in the budget include an additional 7th grade ELA teacher, a social studies teacher, and a technology and engineering teacher at Bridgewater Middle, a school adjustment counselor and a grade 8 civics teacher at the Rainham Middle School, 2 nurses for the health services department, district-wide the addition of a sub-separate teacher, 2 ESPs, an ESL teacher, and 14 ESPs for kindergarten. Those are educational support personnel. All right, and an assistant treasurer is also coming on board, a new network technician, and a custodian, a business teacher for the high school, an administrative assistant of communications, and a district-wide music teacher. Capital items in the budget include the high school track and fencing, as well as the tennis courts. And if anybody has been to the track in recent years, you'll know just how badly these things are needed. So I'm so happy. I was pleased with the district's response for COVID. The hybrid learning via Google Classroom was not ideal, but necessary, and it worked. I'm excited about the elementary school construction. I understand the project is on time and under budget and will be opening hopefully in July. I'm excited the district has hired a coordinator of STEM as well as a coordinator of diversity, equity, and inclusion. It would be an honor to represent the community and serve on the committee in a district that is so near and dear to my heart. For more information about me and upcoming events that I do post on my website, visit my Facebook page, Kathy Martelly for School Committee. Thank you.
And right now, here is the opening statement from the third candidate for the Bridgewater seat, Melinda Barrett, from the recent forum that was filmed right here in our studio.
My name is Melinda Barrett. I am a 6-year resident of the wonderful town of Bridgewater. My wife and I moved here from Stoughton. My wife is a graduate of BR, and we moved here due to BR's reputation as a wonderful school system. She enjoyed her time here before going off to college. We have a daughter in the 6th grade, so we have a vested interest in making sure she and all the children of BR have every opportunity that is possible for them to be successful. I've been a police officer for approximately 20 years, starting in the public sector with the Boston Housing Police for the first 10, and now with the MIT Police Department. In my time in law enforcement, starting with housing, I had a front row seat to the need for child advocacy, whether from parents or from the community as a whole. Throughout my career, I have always tried to identify a need and bring people together to create a solution that is beneficial to all children. That's why I chose to run. After going through COVID and fighting to get kids back in school, I found that there was a communication gap. Maybe it was because of Zoom meetings that parents, school boards, and administrators lost touch. But when we were finally able to meet in person, it was noted by many the school board didn't appear to be listening to parents. I, along with many parents, have voiced concern, had difficulty finding when the meetings were scheduled, and questioned why they would be scheduled at 4 o'clock. Most parents don't get home until after 5, so how are we supposed to get there? I have 4 tasks I'd like to accomplish if elected. Communication, transparency, accountability, community involvement. I know I was only asked to do 3, but I was finding a hard time which one to take out. I'd like to get our families, our new families, and established families involved in having their voices heard. Our teachers who work so hard to help our children be successful should not be burdened with extra tasks that parents do in their homes already, making them physically, mentally, and socially prepared to learn. With regard to transparency, I'd like to work within the confines of the public meeting laws, and I will abide them, but I will strive to make all parents aware of budgetary happenings as well as any other information that can and should be presented to our community. Last but not least, fiscal responsibility. The Bridgewater residents entrust the school committee to spend their tax dollars responsibly and make sure our children have all the tools they need for their success.
And now we bring you the candidates from Rainham. Coming up first is the incumbent from Rainham, Dr. Susan Prywandowski, followed by Louis Diamarino.
Hello everyone, my name is Susan Prywandowski and I'm running for re-election to Bridgewater Rainham Regional School Committee. I have lived in Rainham for 31 years with my husband Ron. My two children, Ron and Marianne, graduated from BR many years ago. I have worked locally as an optometrist for over 34 years. I have served on the school committee for the past 15 years, 2 of which I was elected chair. This is my 6th election, and I am still excited and honored to participate in this campaign. I have had the privilege to serve with many, many wonderful people from both towns. I have worked with 4 superintendents, 3 business managers, and countless other administrators, all of whom have worked tirelessly for our district. I have experience serving on every possible subcommittee, my favorites being budget and negotiations. I have been on the budget subcommittee for over 10 years and chair of the budget subcommittee for 7 years. I am very proud of the relationship we have developed with the 2 towns and the district in an effort to spend every dollar wisely. We respect the taxpayer as we advocate for our kids and their education. I have been on the negotiations team for the past 4 contracts. We have worked diligently on acknowledging the hard work and dedication of our staff while always trying to manage future costs. I am proud of my working relationship with our 4 unions. I have lots and lots and lots of institutional knowledge. I would be honored to have the opportunity to serve for another 3-year term. I would like to complete the update of the regional agreement. Mr. Dolan and I and town leaders have been working on this the past 2+ years. We're almost there. I would like to continue our commitment to evaluating and enhancing our curriculum. We advocated and hired a curriculum team to review our curriculum and help identify any shortfalls, and then COVID redirected our plans. We need to continue to identify and address any student achievement gaps associated with less time on learning during these past few COVID years. We need to continue to update our technology in the district. We need to provide professional development for our teachers as we transition to a one-to-one device in the district. Technology is changing the way we educate our kids, and we need to keep up. We need to develop and maintain accurate and updated communication with our parents and families. As part of our 31 positions being added this year, we have advocated for a communication position. We need better PR at BR. We need to engage more with our families and students. We need to focus on space at Merrill and La Liberty for our growing population in Rainham. With the Mitchell School back online in September, we will now have room to breathe at our schools in Bridgewater and at our high school. With increased funding from the state, I would like to explore the possibility of expanding our curriculum at the high school to possibly add some vocational technical programs right here at BR. Always something going on in our schools. Always room for improvement in all that we do for our kids. I am thankful for the voter support these past 15 years, and I have worked very hard volunteering for our district. I have not missed a meeting or a vote in 15 years. I read every document and every policy that is sent to the committee and come prepared to our school committee meetings. I have no agenda and no conflicts. I am a reasonably normal person who votes for the best interest of 5,400 kids. I have common sense and no interest in drama or politics. I would like to continue working with our great administrators, teachers, and staff here at BR, ensuring that our students receive the best possible education affordable to the taxpayers of Bridgewater and Rainham. Experience matters. I would appreciate your vote on April 23rd.
Hello, my name is Louis Diamarino, and I am one of the Rainham candidates for the Bridgewater Rainham Regional School Committee. I'd like to take a moment and thank Bridgewater TV for allowing me to come on and introduce myself to the registered voters of Bridgewater and Rainham. By way of background, I am a product of the school district. I started my formal education in kindergarten at the Williams Elementary School right on South Street, and I graduated in 2002 from BR. After BR, I went to Sacred Heart University in Fairfield, Connecticut, and graduated in 2006 with a Bachelor of Arts in Political Science. In 2007, I graduated from SUNY Stony Brook with a Master of Arts in Public Policy. In 2014, I completed my dream and graduated from law school at the University of Massachusetts School of Law at Dartmouth, and I subsequently passed the bar that July. I've been involved with youth sports since I was in middle school, having umpired in Bridgewater Little League starting in 1997 and in the early 2000s. I still currently am involved with youth athletics, volunteering as a coach and board member with RYBSA. I have two small children. My son is currently in second grade, and my daughter will be entering kindergarten next year. This is why I am running for school committee. I believe that our school district has great potential. Is it perfect? No. Are there things that need to be adjusted and changed? Yes. I'd like to see the school district become one of, if not the best, school districts in the state of Massachusetts. I believe my professional background and the higher education that I've received will greatly benefit the students and all children of the school district. Two items that have been brought to my attention as I've been going through my campaign is, one, the number of families that are pulling their children out of the school district. As I mentioned earlier, I am proud to say that I'm a product of this school district. I carry that on my shoulder. Everywhere I go, everybody knows that I graduated from BR. I went through my whole early education here. And to me, people pulling their children out for whatever reasons, we need to get to the bottom of that. I know the school committee has already begun that process and sending out a survey. I believe it's within the last 2 years. But this is something that's been going on longer than the past 2 years. And it will continue until we find out and fix the things that are going wrong. The other item that has been brought to my attention is concerns about the way that the special education program in the district is being administered. Special education is controlled by statute. Now, I do not have, one of my children aren't involved in it. However, I strongly believe that this is an area that this district needs to improve on. And I believe if the members of that community are crying out for help, that we need to listen and roll up our sleeves and figure out how we can do better. If elected, I will absolutely roll up my sleeves and see what is going on, how we can improve, and address those concerns. I plan on following the newly started tradition of having office hours, if elected. Where those office hours will be forthcoming if elected, but I believe I will have both a location in Bridgewater and Rainham, where I represent all the students, all the children and families in Bridgewater and Rainham. There should be office hours in both towns so that families and children, if they want to come and talk about what's going on, can come up to me. I'm very approachable. I'm a straight shooter. I do have a campaign page on Facebook, Louis A. Diamarino for BR Regional School District. There's some information on there. If you see me out in the neighborhood, feel free to come up and talk to me. Be more than happy to discuss what's going on and what your concerns are, or anything, even the Red Sox if you want. So I thank you for your time. Once again, thank you to Bridgewater TV for allowing me to come in and record this. Greatly appreciate that, and I hope that I could have your support on April 23rd. Thank you, and I hope that the school district becomes one of the best school districts in Massachusetts.
Thank you to all of the candidates for coming in and recording the segments, and we do want to tell you about the other portion of the Bridgewater ballot that Bridgewater residents will be voting on, and that is the Public Library Trustees. There are 3 people running for 3 seats, and they are Danielle Oliari, Janet Dye, and Nancy Sarno. We do have 2 forums featuring the candidates for the BR School Committee that were filmed in our studio. They're available to check out on BTV and Channel 98, or you can watch them anytime on demand at btvaccess.com. Again, the election is coming up on Saturday, April 23rd in Bridgewater. Voting is from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. at the old BR High School on Mount Prospect Street. And for the folks watching us in Rainham, voting will take place at Rainham Middle School from 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. and the middle school is located at 420 Titicate Road. Don't forget, coming up in just a second, we'll share the tour our cameras went on inside the fire station headquarters over on School Street. And we thank you for watching this Candidates Corner special edition of the program. I'm John Locke.
Since the late 1850s, a fire station has existed on School Street just behind the old town hall. 2 of the bays used today are in fact part of the original structure.
If you take the ceilings down in the offices, the administrative offices, you can still see where they hooked the hooks for the collars for the horses as they were released from Doors Livery Stable across the common.
Back then, the department's headquarters sat near an open and relatively quaint town common. Over the years, Central Square has transitioned to a bustling hub of traffic and business, and though the surrounding area has developed, Station 1 has remained relatively idle. The last major update to the building was in the early 1970s. The station was originally built to house up to 28 personnel. Today it holds over 50 firefighters, EMTs, and paramedics who spend up to 72 hours on shift. The existing station lacks proper space, appropriate ventilation, handicap accessibility, suitable bathroom facilities, and sleeping quarters.
It is a common bunk room area, male and female. There is 1 separate bathroom for females, 2 bathrooms otherwise. Is in regards to trying to retrofit the station, it no longer fits the space needs requirements. The building itself is just under 9,000 square feet, and a lot of that is garage space. The other portions of the space are administrative offices. 24 by 24 has 4 people housed in it. And as everybody knows, what we just recently went through with COVID, we couldn't have the social distancing. We had to change the hours of our personnel and their work. Similar to that, we have a dispatch area that is probably smaller than most of your bathrooms in your homes. And during a busy time, storms, fires, or incidents, we would have to put 2 people in that location, and it no longer fits that.
All these filing cabinets are outdated records. They're all full. Basically, we partially use this for storage. So we have, existing plans for projects that are in town. We have a whole bunch behind you also. So anytime we have some extra stuff that we can use, we kind of keep it here. Otherwise, it would go on up at Station 2, which the attic is full there now. This is a mobile unit that we rent from Mini Mobile. So we added 2 day positions, a EMS officer and a training officer. Because there's no room in this fire station, both their offices are inside of here. And then you can see this is the most convenient place we could put it.
Tight quarters have led to close calls, with the trucks damaging parts of the HVAC system, for example. Decades of daily trips have significantly damaged the concrete.
Last year we had an issue that was taken care of where with the heavier engines, the new design over the course of the last 20 years, the engines carry more water, carry more equipment. It actually broke the concrete enough where the concrete would move as the engine backed in over it and had to be replaced approximately 20 by 20 square. They had to be removed from the station. The Plimo vent from one vehicle actually hits the other vehicle because of its tight proximity, moving in and out of the station. It may not seem like a lot, but you're probably talking thousands of dollars worth of damage over the course of years. Our equipment, meaning our PPE equipment, is subject to diesel fumes, which is not healthy. We do have doors, we have slight protection to it, but when the HVAC systems are on, they pull all the fumes back into the station. Footprint of the property, the availability of parking, the inability to put modern apparatus into an older design fire station, and looking at the front door from School Street itself, looking to the left-hand side, 4 of the bays can only take mid-sized vehicles, pickup trucks, small boat. To the right is where the apparatus is housed, and the apparatus is no longer able to be fit into these. The tower truck would not fit in Station 1 at this time.
We're putting Band-Aids everywhere.
The town started the Band-Aid approach for its fire headquarters years ago, and officials were aware that a new building was needed. But the project faced several roadblocks, lack of funds posed challenges, and a crumbling academy building became a higher priority. However, by 2019, the academy was renovated, and the town was finally financially stable. An ad hoc committee was established with the charge of finally addressing Station 1. Over the next 2.5 years, citizens and professionals met to tackle the long overdue task of finding a long-term solution that was both fiscally responsible and would solve the safety needs of a growing community. Jakunski Humes, an architect specializing in public safety facilities, was hired to do a space needs assessment, focusing on the department's ability to fight fires, fire prevention, EMS, and ambulance services. The study quickly determined that the School Street station should no longer be considered for municipal use. 3 potential new locations, all west of the train tracks, were evaluated and scored based on their ability to meet an established set of criteria, including costs, location, access, and impacts on the neighborhood, wetlands, and floodplains. After considering all of these criteria, the site at 1185 Pleasant Street was chosen.
We've saved on the cost of site acquisition. Since the land is town-owned, we've saved several $1 million in identifying town-owned land rather than trying to find private property for sale.
The 9-acre site does abut wetlands, however, the building site specifically will not be in the flood zone. Preliminary steps have been taken to ensure that the surrounding area will be protected.
The site does have wetland on it. We've selected about a 3-acre lot of upland area on which to site the station. The wetland areas, we obviously will work very closely with the Conservation Commission to make sure that those wetlands are preserved the way that they should be in a natural state. I can tell you that the building tentatively, schematically, is designed not to impact any of the wetlands and actually to create essentially a barrier between managed areas, including parking areas, the building itself, and so forth. There's design such that there'll be a strict barrier between that and the wetland portions. So untouched, our goal is to have the wetlands untouched, with the exception, and again, this is whether dependent upon the Conservation Commission, if they would like to, and whether they will permit a trail network through some of that wetland that could support it. So that is the way that we are ensuring that the wetland is not adversely impacted by the building.
The Pleasant Street headquarters would replace the School Street station, providing modern-day storage and accessibility.
What we are looking at now is to plan for the future, for the next 25 and 50 years. I know you're going to see a large cost to do that. What we're trying to do is make it so that the building will not need the repairs that this building would need with wood and asphalt shingles. We're trying to move to brick and metal roofing.
If approved, the new 2-story facility would include much larger apparatus bays, storage space for gear and equipment, expanding living quarters, administrative offices, a training classroom, and physical training rooms. Personnel currently train off-site. Early in the process, the town looked at renovating the existing station, but town manager Michael Dutton pointed out that renovation would fail to provide additional space or bring the building up to code.
So anytime you conduct a renovation of an old building, unless you can somehow secure waivers, you have to bring it up to code. So that means space code, but also accessibility codes, which involves entrance and exit into the building, and also the availability of space within the building for a challenged person to get around. It includes probably an elevator in order to accommodate the second floor. And I can tell you that once you start to design in all the required space needed by code, just by code, not even to answer the needs of the fire department, but once you build in all those spaces required by code, all of a sudden the available space actually shrinks. So realistically, a renovation of that existing building is off the table. The Fire Station Building Committee realized that with Brian Hume's help very early on, and so hence the reason for finding a new space and developing a new station that could actually accommodate the modern needs, the existing needs, and the future needs of the fire department.
The proposed new station has been unanimously endorsed by the Finance Committee and Town Council, who are supporting a debt exclusion question that will appear on the April 23rd ballot. The question will ask permission for the town to borrow up to $23 million, 21 of that going towards the new station, and $2 million would support upgrades at Station 2, which is now over 20 years old. The needed work at Station 2 includes cosmetic work and expanded storage. Projected cost per household would be 42 cents per $1,000. For a house valued at $400,000, that would amount to $14 per month. However, there is a chance that the project could come in under budget, as the recent Mitchell School has, and in that case, less money would come out of taxpayers' pockets. Some have questioned the timing of this proposal, but officials are quick to point out that the town is currently in the best possible position to save taxpayer dollars.
And we're in the best financial position that we could be to pass this fire department at the next town election on April 23rd. And what I mean by that is there's a number of factors that the town managers indicated already. As a member of the school building committee, we're realizing around $10 million in savings on the construction, and that was just a result of perfect timing with COVID and low interest rates. And we're still in that window of low interest rates if we can bond early.
Fire Chief Michael McDermott feels that the investment will be a solid one for the future. Council Chair Matt Rushton, who also serves on the Fire Station Committee, agrees.
The current fire station downtown not only would not support fire service in the future, but it doesn't now. This is something that we probably should have invested in maybe 20 years ago, but certainly now the plan is talking about what does the future look like over the next 50 years. So that's a number of things. First is supporting a new headquarters on the west side of town to support the growth that's out there and have room to expand and house and protect all of the valuable equipment that the fire department has to do their job. And then second is to look at future growth of the fire department as we grow as a community. As the chief mentioned, we were talking about the town manager planning 5, 6, 7, 10 years. We need to think about that and what our community is going to look like. We just completed the most recent census report, and as we know, our community is growing, so we need to plan for that. This is really one step in a comprehensive plan to support the fire service and ambulance service in town.
Town officials have given the endorsement, but voters will need to ultimately give the green light when they head to the ballot boxes on April 23rd. Polls will be open from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. at the old high school, 166 Mount Prospect Street, where voters will also decide on school committee and library trustees.